Hey guys, we are in the basement, and today we're going to talk about a game that was released in 1988 by Atari. Now this game is kind of like the granddaddy of all puzzle games. I'm talking about the game that basically started the puzzle game genre. You know, games like Bejeweled or Luminous, you name it, wouldn't exist if we didn't have this game. And the game I'm talking about is, of course, Tetris. Now here I have Atari's version of Tetris, which was released in 1988. Now, if you read some of the history about Tetris, it's actually very interesting because it was developed in the mid-80s by a Russian programmer, and it was a game that everyone universally loved, and everyone was scrambling to get the rights to this game and release it commercially. And basically, it really is an interesting story. And at the end of the day, after all the dust cleared, at least in the US, Nintendo had the rights to the console version of Tetris, and they released it with the Game Boy, and Atari ended up with the arcade rights to Tetris. And of course, this is the game they released after they secured those rights. Now, Atari did try releasing a console version for the NES under their Tengen brand, and Nintendo basically sued the living hell out of them. And they said, hey, what are you doing, man? We got the rights to Tetris. You can't release this. And so Atari actually had to recall all of the games and destroy them. And actually, it's now one of the more sought after NES games. I think at the end of the day, that some people say about 100,000 of those cartridges remain. The rest were brought in and destroyed and bulldozed. But anyway, this is the arcade version of the game. Now, Atari sold this as a kit. And meaning they basically sold the printed circuit board, the PCB, and the artwork. You know, the control panel overlay, the marquee, the side art, and the bezel art. And the idea was operators would take a game that wasn't earning any money anymore, and they would convert it to Tetris. And it is using the JAMMA standard. I have this game in a 3-comb Z-back cabinet, which is a JAMMA cabinet. It's a very kind of utilitarian cabinet, like the Dynamo style cabinets. And I actually have a JAMMA switcher in here, which allows me to put 2 printed circuit boards in one cabinet and basically switch between games. Now, previously, before this video, I did the Street Fighter Alpha 2, which is the other board I have in here. And it says here, I actually made some custom artwork for it. If you switch games, you press 1 and 2 player. And so if we were to do that, we were to press 1 and 2 player, it'll switch from Tetris to Street Fighter. Again, check out that video. But anyway, we're going to talk about Tetris today. I tell you what, why don't I just set up the tripod and show you guys how Atari Tetris plays. Okay, we have the tripod set up. Now, first things first, let me show you guys the control scheme here. Now, because I have this cabinet, which was originally a Street Fighter Championship Edition hyper fighting cabinet, we've got the Street Fighter layout, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. We can still use it with this game. We're only going to be using 2 of the 6 buttons. Basically, Tetris requires a 4-way joystick. This is an 8-way. That's okay. The other 4 directions will be ignore the diagonals. And it requires 1 or 2 buttons. So we're going to be using basically these 2 buttons right here, and then these 4 buttons are going to be ignored. And the buttons are used to rotate our bricks. Okay, so let's get the tripod set up here. And we're going to play a 1-player game, obviously. Now, we can play 2 players head-to-head competitively, which is actually a lot of fun, but we don't have a second person, so we're going to play this just a single-player game. So here we go. I got it on free play. Let's start. And so we can start either easy, medium, or hard. And the benefit of starting in the harder levels is you actually will get a bonus here if you can pass the first level. So on medium, I think you get a 20,000 point bonus, and if we select hard, we're gonna get a 40,000 point bonus. Now the difference though between medium and hard compared to easy is that it's gonna throw more garbage on the screen when you start. Okay, so anyway, we selected easy. It says here instructions: rotate and place pieces to fill lines. Great one line filled. Filled line disappears in others. Your goal is to fill lines. So basically each level has a goal. So right here it says complete 5 lines to go to the next round. Okay, so we can press a button to rotate our brick. I'm sure you guys have played Tetris before. So the goal here in the first round is to arrange these bricks in a fashion so we get a complete horizontal line of these little bricks. and you get more points if you can assemble them and to get rid of more than one line. And if you get rid of 4 lines at once, that's called a Tetris. So if you get rid of 4 horizontal lines. So we're going to try to do that. So I'm going to set this up so we basically end up with 1 column of bricks. Now I have a friend that plays this game a lot, and he tells me that I should just focus on just clearing as many lines as I can and don't worry about the damn Tetrises, but I can't help it. I just want to get rid of 4 lines at once. Alright, so I'm kind of a little screwed here, so we're going to just stick this right here. Now I'm starting to fall apart here because I'm starting to create all these gaps, which is not what you want. And here comes a straight piece. There we go, we got rid of 4 at once. We have now 1 line left to do. And if you look in the top left corner, it shows you what your next piece is going to look like. So it kind of allows you to plan ahead. Now I know if I put that here, I got this one coming up next. I'm kind of thinking about what my next move is. Again, we're on the first level of the game, so it's pretty simple. Everything's moving a lot slower. And there we go, we did it. We passed the first round, and we get a bonus of 780 based on how many bricks we left. Alright, now we're on the second level. Now we gotta get rid of 10 lines. And I'm gonna kind of start paying attention here a little more. Now the controls, again, just left, right, and down. If you press down, you basically can make the bricks fall faster after you line it up. Now in some other versions of Tetris, if you press up, it'll actually immediately bring the brick down. This one does not do that. So we gotta get rid of 10 lines. I actually happen to really like the music in this game, in this version. And there's like 3 different theme songs, and they kind of change for every level. I like the 3rd theme song the best, which we haven't heard yet. Alright. I'm not really a great Tetris player. I mean, I could certainly do okay at these lower levels, but when it gets fast, I fall apart quickly. But I used to play this game all the time on my Gameboy. I mean, that's where I really was first exposed to Tetris. I love the Gameboy version. I remember there's like a space shuttle in the end and stuff. They did some pretty cool things. But this version is particularly great though because of the head-to-head nature. You can play with 2 players competitively, which just makes it a great arcade game. Alright, we've got 6 lines left. And I'm kind of not in really great shape here, unless I get another straight line, which here comes one. Alright, so we can lay that down. We've got 3 more to go. Now, because I started on easy, I didn't get any kind of bonus when I finished that first level, which actually is bad, because it's really hard to rack up points in this game. So if you want to get on the leaderboard, you really have to start on the later levels. Because my score right now is only 4,000 points. If I would have started on the hard level and passed it, the first level, I would have had 40,000 points right off the bat. So there really is no point to start on the easy levels, unless you just want to play long. But if you're going for score, you really got to start on the high level. And Atari did that a lot on games, where if you start on a higher level, you get a huge bonus if you pass the first level. I actually don't like that they do that. But they do it like on Millipede and Atari Star Wars next here. And they do it on Paperboy. So on this one, we gotta get rid of 10. This is the gist of the game. This is it. This is Tetris. And it really hasn't changed that much over the years. I mean, they've definitely have been different themed Tetris games out there. But at the end of the day, the original, this one here, this version of gameplay is the standard. And it's still out there today on every system in existence. So pass this level and we'll quit. So we got 4 more lines here. there's like a little intermission now here. This little guy's gonna come out this door here and doodle dance. Now if I press the rotate button, I missed it. A little hook can come out. There it is, and it misses him and grabs him. So anyway, that's it. That is Tetris, really. Let me turn the light on. It's a lot of fun. This game actually gets a lot of play in the basement here. But you know what? If I only had Tetris in this cabinet, I probably wouldn't have Tetris down here. Having a cabinet like this where I can put 2 games in one, and even with Street Fighter, if it was just a Street Fighter cabinet, I probably wouldn't have this Street Fighter down here. But because I can put both games in one cabinet, Tetris and Street Fighter are worthy of the arcade. You know, it only takes up 1 cabinet's worth of space. But anyway, that's it. That is Atari's Tetris. Such a classic. I think it's definitely the best arcade version of Tetris. There's several out there. I know Sega did one, and there's a Mickey one, which I had. But anyway, there you have it, guys. That is Tetris. Thanks again for subscribing to my little channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, why don't you go ahead and click that subscribe button. And if you do, you'll get kind of automatic notices about the videos and stuff when I upload them. I try to upload them every Sunday. And of course, please check out my podcast at videogameoutsiders.com. That's videogameoutsiders.com. We're actually approaching our 300th episode. We've been doing that podcast now for almost 7 years. Can you believe that? And also check out johnsarcade.com. It's the best place to find me during the week in the forums at johnsarcade.com. Anyway, guys.